tell my friends stand by me only if I'm right. I come out of triple darkness just to see the light. If I say it once, I guarantee I say it twice. If they want me, I ain't going out without a fight. In my dreams, I'm a killer, but for God, man. Try to play it cool, but it's getting hard, man. Rolling with the real and death to all the frauds, man. Not too many of me, yeah, it's kinda hard, man. In my room, sitting in my room. Know they waiting on me and I'm coming soon. Never been a sellout, never been a coon. Y'all be on the camera acting.
What's going on, family? This is Che Wills from Wealth is a Journey. I'm here to invite you to the Wealth Builders community. We meet once a month on Zoom. We talk about financial wins, areas of opportunity, and strategies to get you to the M's. If you've been doing your finances alone, I know it sucks. You don't know which direction to go. You don't know what to do, but I am here to guide you. My wife and I, we have gotten out of debt. We are debt-free, house, cars, credit cards, everything. And I am here to guide you on how you can do the same so then you can start building long-term wealth for you and your children's children. So if you've been doing finances alone and you are tired of it, I'm inviting you to join Wealth Builders community today. Let's go.
Poppy.
Yeah. Yeah, you better believe I got a sweet tooth, but ain't nothing sweet. I know you spend all your money to treat. I'm about to spend this little money on trees. Was on a diet, but I gotta cheat. Jumped off the porch, now I'm on second street. To make up my twin, she rolling that dough, and I think about counting that dough in my sleep. What's up, TJ? Before y'all run, I don't wanna be late. I need a little something, I hit to see way, and I need it now, I don't need a delay. Peanut butter like my snack, like my woman. Denzel Washington, I'm leaving with sun. Chocolate chip, baby, you know how I'm coming. Banana pudding, no, we got it jumping, yeah. Yeah, I got butterific, I'm feeling terrific. Serving them cookies is not just a gimmick. They pulling them now cause they love to mimic, yeah. I need a pack, I need a sack, I need a stack, I need a rack. Man, I need everything in a bag down. You better believe it. Aye, butterific, yeah, butterific, butterific.
Hey, welcome to the B2M podcast. We're a group of 5 lifelong friends, brothers, cousins, coming together to have real conversations about faith, family, fatherhood, community, and a legacy we're building for the next generation. From raising our children, including 12 boys, 1 daughter, to faith, fatherhood, and family. Welcome to the family, guys. Hey, today we're talking about athletes or bust is our topic, right? We talk about exploring the high stakes world of how we put our children and put all this emphasis on athletics. It can be entertainment as well versus white collar, so-called white collar or formal education or the trades. And what impact does that have on a community? Few of us have worked in education before. We got one lifelong educator. We think we're all lifelong educators, right? May not be the formal education route. Right. Black, what's your take on that, brother? When you see parents emphasizing the athletics over the academics?
Hey, when you first said that, bro, I was pulling up this video I saw last week on TikTok with Brandon Marshall. You remember Brandon Marshall, Denver Broncos former receiver?
Yes, sir.
The headline on the TikTok reel is former NFL star Brandon Marshall is facing intense online criticism for disciplining his son and making him run at 2 a.m. Right? So I'm gonna play this clip.
Is good. Even 2 a.m, we run. I don't gotta put my hands on you. But I'm training you up to be a warrior. I'm training you to be a leader, to serve. Discipline correction is good. Even 2 a.m, we run. I don't gotta put my hands on you. But I'm training you up to be a warrior. I'm training you to be a leader.
So I didn't know the take was in the discipline. The take on that was a discipline frame. But this is what I say about that.
One question. How old was the fella?
Said again, he was about,
how old was
like
the kid?
he about 9 or 10.
Okay.
Yeah, he looked like he about 9 or 10. But what it is, we always talk about, I don't know if y'all remember hearing the story about Tiger Woods' dad, Earl Woods, rest in peace. making him hit golf balls on the back porch while it was lightning and storming outside, you know, to build his discipline. Or, you know, we just recently in the entertainment side, many of us saw the Jackson 5 movie, right? Or the Michael Jackson movie, where Joe was so hell bent on him becoming a star that the practice they had to endure. And so, while at one point we all look at it and say, man, he's crazy, we also look at it and say, can anybody really achieve the greatness that they achieved without that? So it's a fine line. But for me, one of the things I point the attention to start the discussion is, there's a brother that I think most of us know him, at least, brother named Dr. Stafford Brown. Dr. Stafford Brown, at the time we were young parents, was had just finished medical school at the University of Virginia. And I was in a discussion with him one day, and I was like, you know, how did you get into this? You know what I mean? How did you get into becoming a doctor? Because, you know, I saw him as one of us, in the sense that he didn't necessarily come from ivory towers or, you know, a family full of doctors or anything. But he's like, man, while everybody else was going to football camp and baseball and stuff every day, my dad was making me go to these after school programs about medicine or computers, or he was investing as much time in those other things educationally after school and in the summers as many people do with sports. And I just remember thinking at the time, here's a brother that I know he has his own practice now, and I think he might own a business or something, but here's a brother that's going to make the money he's making for 20, 30, 40 years, right? And we putting all our eggs in a basket in the hope that somebody hits the lottery and makes the NBA. So to me, I think my biggest thought about it is, as much as I love sports, I think we sort of limit our children's possibilities when we don't put as much emphasis on all that other stuff as we do with the sports.
Facts.
I think for me, I was just thinking about years ago, if I heard this, a part of me would say, will it take that much, right? And being that I have a son in journalism, and I watched his journey, and the answer is yes, it takes that much. But the thing is, you know, I guess it's also a fine line, is if this is what they want, then you push them in that. But if this is not what they want and it's something that you want on them, then that's a whole nother conversation. But I watched my son dedicate day in, day out, and studied his craft at such a high level. And so I understand now that's what it takes to be great. That's what it takes to be good in this industry. So definitely I understand.
How do they know what they want? I mean, what I'm saying is, there are some children that just, you know, be 5, 6 years old. I'm gonna be a doctor. I mean, I get that, right? But that's not the most of them, because how do they know what they want unless we exposing them to it? You know what I'm saying?
I think as a parent, I think you can see some key things that you see your child doing at such a young age that they so gifted at. Now the child might not be able to articulate what's going on, but as a parent, being that you've been around and you've seen so many things, you could easily say, hey, the way the foot movement is, I think you'll be good at ballet. The way the foot movement is, I think you'll be a good wide receiver. You got nice torso, strong, so forth. I think you'll be able to point out and be able to identify these things as a parent. So, especially if you engage and you paying attention.
So what made you look at your son's body and say, son, it's a journalism for you?
Well, you're foolish. I can't.
I love it now, but like for my son, for instance, he never was the child that always said I wanted to be a firefighter. He always had two things that he always said he wanted to be: a judge or attorney. He always said that, or he then said he wanted to be on TV, a journalist. So
what age was that, Chill?
He was 9 years old. He was 9 years old when he said he wanted to be a judge, attorney. and then we took him to Seattle and exposed him to a judge and spent the whole day with him. And
Oh
he
yeah, I
came back.
remember that. I think you did
He
share that
came
with
back.
us. Yeah.
He wasn't really feeling it. But then, like maybe like several months later, you know, probably before he turned 10, he locked in. He was like, "Yo, this is what I want to do." And my wife and her sister was doing some. They had a show at the time, and so you know, being able to see that and being around people in the industry, that got him and hopped on him, and he was locked ever since. He
Oh,
knew
yeah.
exactly
What was your wife's thing again? I kind of remember it now that you brought it up.
the Dish on Reality. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong.
You were the
Didn't
producer.
Stafford, oh, my bad. Hey, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Stafford say his father told him you're gonna be a doctor? And he said that I know I'm gonna be, and that's all he ever knew.
It might have been something to that story too, John. It might have been something, but I know he de-emphasized athletics.
Right, and saying that did you, even when you say an attorney or a judge, and then the transition to a journalist, what input did you and your wife have on it?
Really,
it's all Tyreek.
Yeah, really none. We didn't really want to stir him in any particular direction. We just wanted to support what he was talking about. And when he first said attorney, you know, he was like, I want to be attorney. He was like, no. He was like, who in charge? And then that's when we told him a judge, and he just dropped the attorney immediately. He wanted to be in charge, you know.
Yeah.
And so and from there, okay, you know, we didn't really know what to do with him, you know, just put him in front of court TV shows and stuff like that, and you know, exposing him this, you know, and then you know, we was blessed to be able to have my aunt knew a judge that was best friends, and you know, we went to Seattle and spent the day with him, and you know, I think that was just an amazing experience. He was able to, you know, put the robe on, grab a gavel, you know, go in the back, hear some cases.
Did you ever have a dream? I'm talking
like
about for yourself, Talik. Did you ever have a dream of ever making it to the NBA, Major League Baseball, or the NFL for yourself?
No, sir. I wanted to be a hip hop dancer.
All right. And the reason why I'm saying,
yeah,
no, I ain't laughing about that. I'll tell you what I'm laughing about in a second. But the reason why I say that, because I think this issue becomes,
I need to know now.
You did the same. No, I said that because I'm trying to figure out how you would have responded if he said he wanted to be a hip hop dancer, you know, in light of seeing all of these other gifts. That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But the reason why I'm saying that is because I think the problem might be with those of us who balled and made our life about ball. Not somebody that wasn't necessarily the goal, because if you had balled and was like, man, you was all state this and all state that, I wonder if you would have thought differently about, man, he got to do that. He gonna do this media thing, but we got to go to practice too. You know what I'm saying? I just wonder about.
I definitely think that would have had a lot to in my impact. But you know, I think the other thing was, you know, how good I claim I was, right? You know, a lot of times we think we was great, but at the same time, you know, hey, you know what? I was on the team, but to be honest, if I was, you know, most people who tell these stories, they was such a superstar when they go back in time. But I already knew I wasn't that great in basketball, you know what I mean? But
chill game. She'll make me think of his game.
Better we were too for most of us.
What's that?
I say even for most of us, the older we get, the better we were anyway. Right.
And that's a fact. So in that state, or if I had a bad experience, like, man, you know what? Yo, I was good, but I got tired of the coach pushing me. You know what I mean? I got tired of going to practice. My body ached, hurt. You know, it's like, I don't want that for my child. You know?
Right.
So I can understand both aspects, but I think if I was crushing the game, and especially if I seen he was getting the hype like his daddy, yo, for sure.
Yeah.
Was that 5'6", 5'7"? Nah.
Yeah.
That had me thinking the other day about who was it, Boozer? When I was watching a little bit of the draft, the NBA
Yeah,
draft a few
Boozer
weeks ago.
brothers, right.
And I'm like, all these cats that played before, and they have sons that they brought into that's coming into the league. What happened to Jordan's children, man? What happened to Jordan's sons?
That was
Too
too
much
high.
pressure.
Man, one of them been watching
They played
probably
D1
one of them played a little college ball, didn't he?
He played
Yeah,
at South
yeah.
Florida.
Marcus,
Oh, he did.
was it?
Yeah.
Hey, man,
that's
I
the-
think-
And don't get me on Magic. No.
You said, man,
Hey, below the belt, James.
EJ will post you up, James. He will post you up, James. Yeah, take you down low in the post.
EJ man.
Big
EJ
body.
man has some
No pun-
skills. You're right.
No pun
You're right.
intended.
I
think a lot of it come to again in this country what we were allowed to do, right, is entertainment and play ball, right? Some of our most successful, at least visually successful folks we see as our athletes and entertainers, right? And subconsciously, that's what we feel we need to do. We put all our eggs in that basket, and we got to ball out, or we got to sing, we got to rap. That we feel like that's our way out. That's our big money way out. Instead of focusing on, like you say, the entrepreneurship, lawyers, engineers,
Trades
attorneys,
or whatever,
doctors,
even trades.
carpenter, electrician, absolutely. Yeah.
Come on now.
And so that's part of it, you know, and that's where we get recognition and playing ball and singing, all that type of stuff, man. And we love sports, right? We love the competition. We love the camaraderie. We love what sports bring to the table, the discipline, the work ethic, all of those things. And we want to take that and apply it to other areas of our life, right? That's the goal, at least when I was coaching my kids and other kids as well. And the other thing, when Nuevo played that clip, so we got two things, right? Athletics or bust, and then how hard do you push them in one way or the other, right? Because we push them so hard, but then you see some Asian kids push them so hard academically where they might be jumping off the bridge because they can't get an A in math or what have you. You know what I mean? So that pressure, right? And so we doing it athletically, you know, and a lot of people do it academically as well. Brother Joaquin is working at a private school. It's elementary and middle, but have you seen what have you seen from your experience working with those children at that school, which the demographics don't really match ours?
You asked me about that school. It's very interesting.
You know why I'm laughing.
I'll touch on that first, and then I'll go back to what I was thinking. It's very interesting because in that type of environment, it's a school that's catered to high IQ students. So it's extremely intelligent students. And so oftentimes they're very rare when you see one that you coming in with 150 IQ, but you can also play soccer really well. That's rare.
Wow.
And we do have that on occasion. We just my guy Sam that played on my basketball team just got selected in the Major League Soccer draft this past season. So that's super exciting.
Congrats.
In that environment, it's very important because academics is so pushed, and it's very important because those kids, their academic prowess becomes their identity. And one of the things I've discovered is that they don't learn how to fail because they don't want to come up short in front of their parents academically. So we have chosen and we use athletics to teach those young people how to fail, because the next person coming in the gym could be LeBron James Jr. and we're not going to win. But how do we compete, and how do we, take and learn these lessons and apply them to other aspects of our lives? So in that environment, that's super crucial. But here's what I will say. If you ever meet when you meet a 5-year-old kid and you ask them what they want to do, and they will tell you a litany of things. They'll say, I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a soccer player. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be
Black Panther.
Yeah, they got a lot of stuff they want to be. You ask that same kid 10 years later at 15 what he want to be, and he'll just shrug his shoulders and say, Well, you know why that happens?
Wow. Okay, bring it.
Because The world will tell you what you can't be. Your parents will tell you what you have to be, but you got to decide what you're gonna be. And
Break
so
that
many
down one more
times they
time, brother.
lose that.
Hold on. Break that down one more time.
Is this one of your? This one is this an original quote? Why?
This
Or where
is
you
an
get this one
original
from?
quote, brother.
Yeah,
I like it, brother. Come on, do it.
Run that back. Run that back.
Do it.
The world will tell you what you can't be. Your parents will tell you what you have to be, but you got to decide what you're gonna be.
Come on,
And
man.
so many times when I've talked to parents and their kids are struggling and they don't know why they're struggling, I'm like, it's usually because you have something that you want your kid to do, and they don't want to do it, but they don't want to tell you. And so as a result, they kind of do nothing. They want to do what they want to do, but then you and they don't believe they have your support to do what they want to do. And one of the things I tell parents, I say, if you go and tell your young person, hey, I got your back. Tell me what you want to do. Tell me what your dreams are. I will support you 100%. I promise you overnight, you will get a different person. You will get a different young person overnight. And so I think that's super crucial right there. Man, I was talking to some of my Peabody kids one day, and I was asking one of them what you want to be, and he had his little guitar, and he loved to play guitar. Now, we're in an academic environment. And then I got to the next kid, and he looked at me, and I said, so what are you going to do? He said, I've got to be a doctor. Just like that.
He's got to be. I've got to be.
I've got to be a doctor. Now, ain't nothing wrong with his parents having that dream for him, but have they ever asked him what he wanted to do? And sometimes sometimes parents don't ask the young people what they want to do. So, you know, you've seen the video of Jalen Brunson working out with his dad. And I think it's a fine line. When you played the Brandon Marshall clip, the first thing I said was, how old was the young fella? Because there's a point where, you know, a kid is playing a sport or doing whatever it is for fun and they enjoying it. But you got to see if the kid makes the switch and now they get serious. And you know it when the kid says, hey, Dad, let's go outside and throw. Hey, Dad, let's go work out. Hey, Dad, let's go do push-up. Hey, Dad, let's get. Now you know that they have taken it themselves upon themselves. That's when the parent, I believe, should begin to put the Brandon Marshall pressure on them or the Joe Jackson pressure on them. But if that's not what they want to do,
pressure, oh my God!
You know, no, I'm saying like the Earl Woods pressure. You know what I mean? The Richard Williams pressure.
How old was Tiger when Earl did that? You say it again?
Tiger was 2 years old when his dad did that. Yeah. But that was his dad. His father was in a situation where he wanted to go play golf, and they didn't let him on the golf course because he was black. So he made it up in his mind, I'm going to create the greatest golfer to ever play where they can't deny him. And that's exactly what his father did.
Wow.
So through that adversity,
he also created somebody addicted to painkillers.
Correct, because that's the flip side to it.
I'm talking about that's the other side of
that's the other side to that kind of drive. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right, let me ask you a question. Why?
I got one for him too, John.
You said you said if you ask a child at a certain age what he want to be when he grew up, and then you ask that same child, what was those ages? What was the first age?
You ask them at 5 years old when they're in kindergarten, first starting school, and you catch them 10 years later when they in high school around 10th, 11th grade. They just shrug their shoulders, and a lot of them have lost it. And it's not because they don't know what they want to do. They have gotten tired of telling people what they want to do, and then people saying, "Get a plan B." You ain't gonna be able to do that. You know how many people make it in the NBA? Well, guess what? Yeah. That's what I've learned from observing. The NBA is not random. Okay, if it were random, we wouldn't see so many fathers and sons and brothers in the NFL and all of that stuff. There's a formula to it. Obviously, that ain't no nepotism. Sports is the complete meritocracy. That's why we get into it, because we feel like that's why we get into entertainment, because we feel like that's a meritocracy where we can achieve no matter what the obstacles are against us. That's why we do
Danny
that.
Perry, Danny Ainge, all their families in the front office, but they're not on the court. They've been doing nepotism from the Buss family.
We're not talking
and
about,
I'm not saying there's not a formula to that, but let's go back to this. I think the great Uncle Ed said, if you let a 5-year-old make a decision, you're going to get a 5-year-old decision, right? So at one point, are you allowing 5-year-old to make a decision on the rest of their life? Okay, just like, are you going to throw a ball with them? Are you going to make them read and write? Are you going to go make them fix the lawnmower? Are you going to make them cut the grass? Are you going to make them handy?
It's not an either or, brother. It's both. You do it. You do both. It's not either or. And yeah.
What are you making him do versus what you allowing him to do? I guess that's the question. What are you making him do? Because as a man, we got to do things that we don't want to do.
Here's what I'm trying to teach. I'm trying to develop a young human being that has the compassion, that has the understanding, that has the discipline, the work ethic, and all of those things. It does not matter what he applies it to in his life. I need to give you certain characteristics. Once you get these characteristics, it doesn't matter whether you applied to law school or whether you applied to the NBA. This is what I need you to get.
That's utopia.
Hey, wow.
Hold on.
Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why that's utopia. And I'm gonna call it out for myself instead of saying pointing the finger at anybody else. None of us invested in those other things the degree to which we invested in sports. Our children didn't go to as many camps as they did, even though we knew they were bright. We knew they were bright. We knew they were talented academics. We did not invest the money nor the time in those other gifts that they had to see which one of them might have been what they ultimately excelled in. And that's why I call it utopia, because, and this is the other thing, you don't get there randomly, but these are the numbers. This is probability and facts of life. In the NFL, 9,000 people,
500 active NBA
9
players.
to 10,000 people, 0.9% go from high school to the NFL. 7.5% of high school players make it to college. And to the pros, 1.6 to 2% of college players get drafted into the league. Basketball numbers even lower, baseball lower, soccer lower. So if we were talking about success for our children, you would think we would have invested more in those other things like robotics camp, this camp. But we didn't do it. We put our money in AAU. We put our money in Pop Warner. We put our money and our time. So what was that based on? Why did we all do that? Because did we all see promise of our kids going to the league? Did they communicate they wanted to go to the league? Or did we set in the way that Talik built?
Let me say this.
Around Tariq to grow into communications, most black men choose to build our structure around sports. And I think that's generally.
Let me say this. What you're saying is absolutely true. But here's what I'm saying. Me, you, and John, we had those hoop dreams. So we did that because at a certain point, because we were young parents, we living vicariously through our children. J-Mo and Talik ain't do that. J-Mo and Talik ain't do that.
Right?
They ain't do that.
Why didn't we?
Because y'all didn't choose to live vicariously through your children through sports like we did.
Right.
Now, that's the thing. That's the mistake we made. All right. And I say it's a mistake. But here's what I also say. I sat here and watched that NBA draft. And I sat here and watched 9 out of the first 10 guys get drafted go up there with 2 parents and a father that they talked about got them ready to be in that place and be in that space.
A brother did a post about that too.
That is not an accident. That is not an accident.
That's changing the paradigm.
I'm not saying you can't bake a cake if you choose to try to focus on baking a cake. I believe you can if your kid has those tools. A lot of those former NBA players John talking about, these are people that are giving birth to genetically gifted children, right? If you're a former athlete and your child make it, they're genetically gifted in the way that many of them are choosing, like, I'm 6'5", I'm gonna make sure my wife's 6'2". You know what I'm saying? They are intentionally doing
that's real, and that's exactly why Cameron Boozer got drafted 3rd and his twin brother didn't get picked at all. So the genetics is a component of it. But then you look at a guy like Jalen Brunson. That's why he's so special. He a regular, normal-sized dude at 6'1", But what has he done? He has learned and trained to understand the mental side of the game. And he developed his skill, developed mentally, and that allowed him to compete. So yeah, you can say, yeah, hey, you know, I had kids on my AAU team that they look like they're the same when they're in 6th grade, all right? But one of them grew to 6'10" and ended up playing for Duke, all right? And the other one grew to 6 feet. He's not playing for Duke, all right? So yeah, you got to hit that sometimes, but it's also a component where, hey man, you can will and skill yourself into whatever level of success you want. But this is the formula for it. A lot of us, me, you, John, we didn't really know the formula. We had an idea, but we really didn't know the formula.
I think the discussion is about athletes are bust, right? So even while you're saying that there's a formula, the overwhelming majority of people that even use that formula are not gonna make it.
Right. You just dropped the stats. You just dropped those stats. Yeah.
Right. So the question becomes, and it's really not about us, it's really about all of these fathers. I know what it's about for me. It's about all of these fathers that I see at practice every day, but not at the parent-student teacher conference.
Agreed. That's what we're talking about.
It's about the fathers that got their children dressed up with football gloves, a visor, and the latest cleats, and then the dad got on cleats even though he's not even playing, and he's there every day after work at practice, but nowhere else in that child's life, because his impact, even if he's not in the home, is I got me an athlete. And most of them, let's be honest, most of the parents of the people we played, the Bama's didn't never play. They watched it on TV. They weren't even, let's be honest about that. I know most of the parents of the people I coach never played. If they did play, I never had a problem out of that child with anything, right? If they did play, man, what my son ain't out there, they never played. So my point is, what is the emphasis of our community on these things versus the available jobs? Because the formula to becoming a doctor, or the formula to becoming a lawyer, or the formula to becoming a media person, a teacher, engineer, is actually easier than the formula to get to the NBA.
Without a doubt.
Right.
So Corey, like you say, why are we buying all the new cleats and the new shoes, but we don't have a place for them to study and do their homework? You know what I mean? Do you have a desk in your room? You know, do you have a quiet place?
Marquis said it right earlier when he said living vicariously through the child. They had hoop dreams. So my child gonna be a baller. And some of these jokers can't even, you ask the child, send a play sheet home and ask him to read it.
Yeah.
They can't even read the play sheet, but dad at the game, you know?
Yeah. What's up, Chill?
My question to you, when you went back to the 3 different phases about the child, dream, the parent, and what they're gonna be, right?
Yeah.
My question to you is, when the child is in that situation and he trying to figure out what he gonna be, how can he navigate that pressure on the other side of dealing with a parent that's trying to push him in the direction they want? What are your advice on that?
Bro, that is super tough. That is super tough. One of the things you want to try to do, and I know is one of the things I always told my boys is, you got to learn when not to listen to me. All right. And I've said this before. Because you got to understand that what I'm sharing with you may be coming from my limited understanding or my own lack of knowledge. And so if you look at my life as my son, and you want to do something greater than what I've done with my life, you got to know there's some things that I don't know, and that you're going to have to go somewhere and get it. You got to go somewhere else and get that information. Now, I'm going to try to expose you to as much as I possibly can. And I also, man, we talked about this before. I empowered my kids to challenge me and question me. See, the kids that can't tell their parents, I don't want to do that, it's because they don't have that skill either. They don't have the ability to challenge their parents. Or man, I know people 30, 40 years old is still afraid to say something to their mom and daddy. And they 40 years old.
Watch that back talk.
Come on, man. It ain't right.
Because it might be a respect issue, Wah.
It ain't got nothing to do with respect, man. You can be respectful and say what you got to say to your parents.
So they don't know how to articulate.
So what does respect mean? I just shut up? No, that ain't respect. Respect? No. You got to be able to speak up and advocate for yourself. And it don't matter whether it's your mama and your daddy or the court or the school or whoever it is. The workplace, you got to learn how to speak up and advocate for yourself. And if my mama putting pressure on me to be a school teacher, and I don't want to be a school teacher, I got to speak up and say, I don't want to be a school teacher. Now, I also told my boys, hey, I got your plan B. It's your job to come up with plan A. And whatever you say A is, that's what we're going to go with. And I think a lot of times parents figure, I got your plan B, you come up with plan I got plan A. You come up with plan B. And I think it should be in reverse.
It should be reversed, right.
Yeah, see, I got plan B for you. All right, this is what I want you to do. I'm going to put you on this track. Now, as soon as you tell me you want to do something else, we going in your direction. But the responsibility is yours to come up with what you want to be and what you're going to be. That responsibility is on the young person. I can't live my son's life.
And how did you articulate that, Wah? How did you articulate
what I just said?
What you just said? At what age and what time or when?
How were those options revealed to the children? Yeah,
I just told them, listen, we did go to robotics for a little while, Chubb, if you remember that. We did go to robotics for a little while. All right, we did. Baseball, basketball.
It was bars, so we stopped taking
it won't fun for us.
Yeah, know what I'm saying.
And so I did pay money and spend time getting math tutors and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I have put some emphasis on it, but I was really thinking athletics. That's what I was thinking. Bro, do you know how bad I wish somebody would have said to me, hey, guess what, Joaquin? If you get all A's, you can escape poverty, guaranteed. I can show you how to get out of poverty with some great academic success. Because you get good grades in high school, you find yourself enrolled at the University of Virginia or Princeton or William and Mary or Harvard and graduate from there, you will escape poverty, my friend. You will escape poverty. That's all you got to do. Go get you some A's and B's and you can get out of poverty. And ain't nobody saying that to our young people.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
Look,
What's going on, family? This is Che Wills from Wealth is a Journey. I'm here to invite you to the Wealth Builders community. We meet once a month on Zoom. We talk about financial wins, areas of opportunity, and strategies to get you to the M's. If you've been doing your finances alone, I know it sucks. You don't know which direction to go. You don't know what to do, but I am here to guide you. My wife and I, we have gotten out of debt. We are debt-free, house, cars, credit cards, everything. And I am here to guide you on how you can do the same so then you can start building long-term wealth for you and your children's children. So if you've been doing finances alone and you are tired of it, I'm inviting you to join Wealth Builders community today. Let's go.
Poppy.
Yeah. Yeah, you better believe I got a sweet tooth, but ain't nothing sweet. I know you spend all your money to treat. I'm about to spend this little money on trees. Was on a diet, but I gotta cheat. Jumped off the porch, now I'm on 2nd Street. Tamika, my twin, she rolling that dough, and I think about counting that dough in my sleep. What's up, TJ? Before y'all run, I don't wanna be late. I need a little something, I hit the Z-way, and I need it now, I don't need a delay. Peanut butter like my snack, like my woman. Denzel Washington, I'm leaving with sun. Chocolate chip, baby, you know how I'm coming. Banana pudding, no, we got it jumping, yeah. Yeah, got butterific, I'm feeling terrific. Serving them cookies is not just a gimmick. They pulling them now cause they love to mimic, yeah. I need a pack, I need a sack, I need a stack, I need a rack. Man, I need everything in a bag down.
you better believe it.
Aye.
thing I want to say, man, and I feel you on, creating a safe space for children to voice what they want in the face of authority, right? Or parents. Only thing I want to name and acknowledge is that even when you create that safe space, and I'm not saying it for you because Darius, we know, took it and ran with it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You told him that, he was like, bet, I've been waiting to say stuff to you a long time, bro. Right? But let's just talk about children. I'm just going back to what I've seen in my, over 2 decades or so in education, right?
How long?
Over 2 decades,
School.
almost 3, is, man, especially when you're a good parent that this happens. This happens especially when you're a good parent. When your children love you, when your children admire you, when your children respect you, and you do create that environment, your body language and everything about you has to be careful when it sort of disappoints you that they're not doing that thing that you want them to live through them vicariously. Because all it takes is them to see a look of disappointment on your face,
right,
to shut them back down from wanting to share it to you. Because ultimately, don't forget, they do want to please us.
Right.
When they do care about you. And so it's you have to be very careful that you don't put, man, I thought we was gonna be going to the championship or something. But now I'm gonna take you to the rock. I'm gonna take you to robotics though, but I thought we was gonna be holding the trophy up together. Do you see what I'm saying? That's very important, man, because they love you so much, man. They want to, and a lot of kids are balling out. I got a bar for y'all. A lot of kids are balling out to make their parents happy and to not disappoint them. And we think they playing for themselves, but they not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
I want to go back to the original clip you played, and you was talking about the young man. You say, you think you're around about 9 or 10.
Yeah.
And his dad was pushing him to run.
but that was a disciplinary piece though, Chill.
Yeah, but James, I will
combined
say that's going
combined
on
with his desire to
Yeah,
that is going on with.
Let me talk. So I remember as a child, man, my brother used to push me so much about sports. It was a turnoff to me. It was a turnoff. Now when I did play football, I was good. But I had speed like crazy. But it was a straight turnoff because it wasn't what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? And I was doing it through pressure of him. You know what I mean? And pressure of friends, But that ain't what I wanted to do. I wanted to work and chase women. That's all I wanted to do.
You was 12 chasing women?
Man,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He should have been putting pressure on you. That's what you were trying to do.
Yeah. Well, man, he was working at 12. He had a job at the mall at 12.
Yeah. So
you learned not to listen to him 40 years ago, huh?
Him pressuring his son to run, even though he got the skill set, he got the connections, he got all this. But it could be a total turnoff to his son because you know what? If dad wouldn't pressure me so hard, maybe I'd do it. But since I know he wanted so bad, I ain't doing what he wants because I'm mad at him.
Yeah, that's why you have to be careful. You really have to be careful. I tried. I mean, a little bit of the pee-wee, basketball or whatever for K-Mo. Soccer, taekwondo, but then also I tried to be balanced as well and just kind of putting those things out there to see what he might gravitate towards, because his frame really is kind of a ball and frame, a basketball and frame, and his little stature. And it was interesting, and I think I may have shared this as well before.
He's a Kenyan distance runner.
Oh, that's his frame. But
Yeah, that's his frame.
but what's wild is even in middle school, somehow his mom convinced him to play freaking rugby, yo. And but that's the thing I loved about him, that he was open to at least try these things, despite, you know, if it was what he wanted to do. And he did also. We also had him in the Odyssey of the Mind, so he kind of liked that kind of thing as well, you know, on the whole creative thinking piece and whatnot. And then it was surprising to me that in high school, this dude wanted to wrestle. And I was like, what? You know, so at first I kind of was like to myself, why not stay on him with the basketball after the one season as a 5-year-old and whatnot. But again, I did Nuevo, I had to catch myself. Like you said, I tried not to show any signs of like disappointment or like, you know, I tried to be very careful. No, it was okay that he wanted. If that's what he wanted to do, and if he was, you know,
he ain't like the outfit he was wearing.
No, I ain't like that Joker getting folded up every week. No, I'm just joking. No, he did all right in some of his matches and everything though.
Hey, what don't say last night, J-Mo? What don't say last night? His granddaddy was 133-pound middle linebacker in high school.
133-pound middle linebacker.
Oh. But that's what I admire about that young man is his heart though, and willingness to go ahead and see it through and give it a shot anyway. You know.
So is it something about our masculinity where we want our kids, whether they go pro or not, right? Whether they go get a college scholarship, we want them to have a nice jumper. We want them to catch and throw a baseball and hit a ball a little bit. You know what I mean? Catch and throw a football. Yeah. We want them to dance a little. We want them to dance with a lady. You know what I'm saying? You said that's ego, chill. That's the ego, bro.
I think so.
I mean, yeah.
I think part of it is like, I know part of it is if you played, right? And I can't say anybody made me play it other than the fact my brothers was playing and I wanted to do what I saw them doing. Or if you didn't play, then you weren't doing nothing because that's what they was doing, right? And y'all remember how it was in the 70s. You have big games in the neighborhoods if you grew up in an apartment complex or something, right? But my thing is, I think the first thing is that we learn so much through athletics, right? I know the general. You learn how to be tough at a young age. You learn how to not quit. You learn that things can be going all the way wrong and you end up winning because you have faith. Those are some real life lessons you learn through competing. And so
Absolutely.
I think it started, and it was just a bunch of fun. And when you do get good, I can remember being young, you know, if you're real good in Little League, man, they're treating you like you LeBron or somebody at 10, 11 years old. I mean, you're not getting Porsches and Lamborghinis in high school, but I was hitting home runs, getting free Shoney's Big Boy hamburgers, and you know, it was different. The benefit when people saw you coming, there you go. I mean, so you feeling the love, and then if you could be somebody that don't have a lot of love in other areas of your life expressed like that, so you gravitate to it. So part of it was you want them to learn those lessons that sports teach you. I just think that we just got to expand our breast a little bit, especially in our community these days, because we've tried it this way. We've been doing it with pushing kids into athletes a bus. And I'm not saying we did that, but a lot too many of us are.
Right.
Man, we as a community are dying as a village. And so we need more doctors. We need more lawyers. We need more engineers.
Right.
More, communications people. So my thing is
journalists.
If we believe that I'm saying it's enough within our capabilities to as Joaquin said, to support and give investment in all of that. You know what I'm saying? Until they come up with a dedicated way. You know, in the 8th or 9th grade, whether you got something in terms of somebody that really can excel in sports, if that's their dream. But then we also got those people like, man, take your son off the team. You know he not gonna do what you hoping he gonna do when you look at the skills. If you had him in a computer camp and the Joker couldn't read code and wasn't putting effort in learning code and all that, you're not gonna keep paying for him to be in the coding class. You understand what I'm saying? And I think we should look at all of that stuff.
You know,
like that.
let me say this, and as to piggyback on what you was just saying, Nuevo, I think one thing that when we were coming up, it was player or bust, not athletics or bust. But now, guess what? You can actually get you a degree in coaching from the University of Alabama, and you can go be a Division I coach making $500,000 being the offensive coordinator at the University of Alabama, probably $1 million. Okay, so one of the things that we can talk about is, you know what? Yeah, if you love athletics, yeah, but guess what? It's more to basketball and football than being on the field and on the court. You can be the GM. You can be, you know, man, we got a cousin right now that's the head of audio. I mean, all the media for USA soccer team right now.
Yeah.
Why? Because he picked up a camera.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so you might not, and he loved baseball. He was a baseball player. He was a college baseball player. But guess what? Like, you know what? I can stay close to sports, and even if I'm not on the field. And we got to stress that part and that component of it too. Because guess what? As opposed to just saying, man, don't be fooling with no basketball, football, sports, or whatever. It's a billions and billions of dollar industry. You can do other things. Look how many dudes like Eric Spoelstra. He ain't never played in the NBA. Started out as a video guy. But now he the coach of the Miami Heat. You know, Popovich. You know what I mean? So if we start sharing with our young people, you know what? Maybe you can get in media for the Washington Commanders. Maybe you can get in player development or GM, whatever it is.
Or you can be that sports agent and be a lawyer, you know?
Right, exactly. So you can stay close to the sport if you want to, and we don't have to just turn people away from it.
I agree with that for sure.
You know, that's all they can do. You know, convince our young people that it's more to the sport than just on the field and on the court.
And well, I like to think that you, me, and Cord we coached and we pushed athletics a lot and hoping for a scholarship, right? And anything beyond that is extra. But we also understand how these PWIs are chewing our athletes and spitting them out. You know what I mean? And not a lot of our athletes are prepared to take advantages, right? And so once you get your foot in that door, whether it's a PWI, HBCU, to come out of there with your degree, what networking, what positioning yourself to be successful later on, because they don't give a damn about you. You know what I'm saying? Once you stop balling, you gone, you done. So that's what we really want to avoid. So even if you do get to a certain level athletically, you got to be prepared, especially now. If you can go make $1 million NIL and never go to the league, you setting yourself up. Now, back in the days, you thought $1 million lasts your lifetime. But if you get that money now, are you prepared to invest and maneuver and pivot to your next career? You know, I think that's the most important.
And that's why I said from the very beginning, you teach both. You teach these skills, because guess what? It don't matter if that school give a damn about you. You need to know why you're there. And you better not
use them as much as they're using you.
You better not think you're only there to play. You better really know why you're there. And that's why you got to teach both. And that's why you got to be making sure they get the discipline, they get the work ethic, they understand the value of the education or whatever we might be trying to teach them. Because so what if they don't care about you? You need to be getting your paper while you're here, you know? And so that's my big thing. You know, I don't care if they don't care about you. All right, let's just assume they don't. What are you getting out of this? And it better be more than playing on Saturdays.
And you know,
and that's gonna come from the parents.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
that's right.
John, one thing you pointed out, it made me think about is we talking about. I read the statistics off about, and that's just probability, right? Math is math. You line up this many thousand of y'all, this how many of y'all gonna make it across the river, right?
Yeah.
But then beyond that, look at the tenure of the careers.
Right.
They short.
Right.
3-4 years.
The acronym in the NFL is it stands for not for long, right?
Yeah.
The average Major League Baseball player is 26 years old before they even get a shot, right? And they're not playing too long. And so my point is, if we're not developing those other things, that's why we got so many people that's broke when they done and don't know what to do when they done, and now they on podcasts talking about how tough they are because they didn't have any other skills, right? Why can't we have, what's the brother's name? Is it Myron Rowe?
Yes.
The brother that
Yeah,
got
yeah.
appointed to
Became
NFL
played
position
for
or
Florida
whatever.
State, became a neurosurgeon.
He's a neurosurgeon, right? And he gave up his NFL career to pursue the medicine. So why can't we grow up with children that at least, or develop children that at least have that option? You know what I'm saying? You
We
know,
can,
so,
we can, we can.
You know,
that's the
man,
thing.
I think
Our proud as a community, we back.
let me just say this, man. Part of, you know, our kids are a big time a reflection of us. We got to develop as parents. We're not developing as parents, bro. We just doing what we saw mama and grandma and them do, or we doing the opposite of what we saw mama and grandma do. You know, how many times are we watching a podcast on parenting? Are we reading books on parenting? Are we learning and researching about
Feeding
parenting?
ourselves.
We you know, obviously you done heard a million times, when you become a parent, it don't come with a playbook. It don't come with no instruction manual. Kids don't come with instructions. Okay, maybe they don't. But what have you done to develop as a parent?
Have to study.
You just winging it.
Have to
We just
research
winging it.
too.
And if we winging it as parents, we leaving our kids' futures up for debate. We is just up. We don't know what they're gonna be. We don't know what they're gonna do.
So,
They don't know, and you
so
don't
what?
know.
I love it. Good point. So what I hear is, as adults, young parents, older parents, we still need to grow, because they're gonna do what they see us do. If we read, they're more likely to read. If we watch 8 hours of TV and scroll all day, that's what they're gonna do. If we go to the gym, they'll go to the gym, right? So we've got to be constantly improving ourselves as well, especially with all of us children to teenage parents, you know. So absolutely, we got to do all that to take it to the next level. The other thing is, why in our community we feel like we got a responsibility to give back. We all feel that way. This is kind of related to the athletics, right? It's talking about building a community, and it was it a movie or a book I read, and that it was a revolutionary, right? And it was hijacking something, and they were like, we fighting. They had a really good cause, right? But it was something that had broke, and the one guy they needed was on the other side. And he said, you know what? I'm an engineer. One engineer is worth 50 revolutionaries. You know what I'm saying? So we need that. When I say engineer, we need the plumbers, we need the carpenters, we need the teachers, right? We need those trades to build our community. Because one of the things you talked about, why, as far as politics, a truck in every driveway, right?
Yeah.
If my sons have a home, they ain't gotta have a 10,000 square foot home. If they have a home, have a lovely wife, and raising their children, and happy doing their work, whatever it may be, right? And able to travel, I'm very happy. You know what I'm saying? That's my definition. They may have a different definition, but I felt like I've done a good job as a father, and they have options in raising their family, and their young men and their sons and daughters can see the world and do good things.
Man, and I think, bro, that's all we all trying to do. And we kind of done that with our boys. They still at formative ages, you know, they're in their 20s or whatever, or 30s. And that's what we trying to do. And that's why we got this show, is because it's just that, you know, it can be an example of other people, you know, because everybody don't want their kid to be a superstar athlete. Some people just want them to be good, functioning, good people, good adults that can take care of themselves and manage and run their own lives. That's all.
Right.
That's all folks really want.
Right. At the
And
end
we,
of it all,
and we
yeah.
still struggling and making mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Regularly, right? It's still growing and learning, right? And trying not to make no fatal flaws.
Yeah.
We said shit.
Nah, I definitely was saying that. I was sitting up here thinking, man, about a few things, but like for instance, when my son was talking about being a journalist, I was telling him that he need to learn all aspects of the business, in front of the camera, behind the camera, you know, being the producer of the show and so forth. And now he at the news station, there's sometimes he actually produced the show, but you know,
That's
where did that come from? You know,
well done, Chill.
From me sharing this thing with him, he doing it in college, as well as being able to be prepared when he get to the big stage. So a lot of times, just like what Aki was just sharing was, you know, when you in the sports arena, yeah, you might not play on the field, but you might be the cameraman, you might be the GM, you might be the owner, and so forth. And so you have to let them be able to kind of draw back and look at with a wide range versus just tunnel, you know.
Hey, I remember one time we went to it was Washington Redskins at the time. We was like right on the rail, and Daniel Snyder was walking by and got a chance to speak and say hello at the time. And Darius was really young. I think he might have been 7 or 8, something like that, 6 or 7. And I was like, you see that guy right there? I said, you know who he is? He like, nah, who is that? I said, that's the owner of the team. I said, guess what? All those players out there, he pay them all. He pays all of them.
Yeah.
I said, so who got the most money? The player or this guy right here you don't even really know?
Right.
You know, and so I think it's important to always understand. My guy Jamal King, 9 to 5 millionaire, always say we rise and fall to the level of our exposure. So as parents, it's our job to expose them to as much as we can, from robotics to debate club to, you know, mathematics, doing cube square and football and basketball and lacrosse and track and field hockey or whatever the sport is. Expose them to as much entrepreneurialism, expose them to as much, and then watch and observe and see where their interests,
what they gravitate to. And
then once they latch on to something, now you can then give them the guidance and the structure, and more importantly, teach them how damn hard you got to work to be successful. Because most of our young people have no idea how much work and how hard you have to work to actually be successful. They don't know. True. They don't know. And it's because we're not teaching it to them. They think things just supposed to come to them. And Nuevo, you can speak to this. You're in the educational system. Everybody, all these kids graduating from college think they're supposed to have jobs paying $100,000, and they're going to have employers lined up at the door for them because they just walked across stage and got their paper. That's not happening. And you got to know how hard you got to work to be successful. That's what we all have learned now that we all 50 years old. You're like, God, I could have sworn I was going to be doing better than this. You know? And we doing good. You know what I mean? Yeah. We doing good. Right. We all of us get ready to take our ladies to Aruba next week. We doing great. You know, but we had to learn just how hard it was to work to be successful, because we really didn't know. We really didn't.
You know when the paradigm will know we'll know when it's changed, because Haki came and told me the other day. He was like, man, I saw this guy, he teaching summer school right now, right? And he said, I saw this guy that come in there, man, he was 6'6", 270. And guess what? He don't play no ball. Right? So look, this is what I'm saying. And I know how I am. I'm putting this on myself too. Let me see somebody that's 6'8", 6'7", or somebody with some good size. I don't even know him, and we might strike a conversation. I'll be like, yeah, you play any ball? I'm not saying, hey, yo, man, read anything lately?
Right. What book are you reading?
Have any cultural experiences lately? So when we start stereotyping our own about this thing and just saying, look, that's just a human. I don't know anything about him, and it don't matter. We'll know the paradigm is shifting. The other thing I say is, man, my own story is I was playing junior college baseball and ran into Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan and took that journey, right? And we've talked about that before. But one of the reasons I stopped playing was because I was in kind of a, baseball, one of the most racist sports you can play, right?
Wow.
And I was doing well. I had an injury-filled second season after batting .425 as a freshman, getting recruited. Then I got hurt when I came home and redshirted the second year. But when I was deciding whether to come back, the coach was like, hey, come on back up here for a third year. And I'm gonna make sure you get somewhere, right? And then when I went to meet with the counselor, she was like, if you come up here for a third year, none of the credits you earn are going to count because you've already taken all of the credits that are going to transfer that somebody will take. You know, I was real close to having an associate's degree. Anything else was going to be some unique stuff that probably wasn't going to be at the other campuses. So that's squared with him saying this. He said, always remember that your physical power will decrease over time, but your intellectual and spiritual power will increase over time. And that just resonated with me. You know what I'm saying? And it made me say, I'm definitely not going to go take 30 credits that I don't need. And so I ended up, you know, transferring to Virginia State, and James was down at the time. He remember I ended up stopped playing down there because me and him had to get a job at Lecter's. Remember that, James?
Yes, sir. At the mall.
Anyway, my point is, that's my message to parents that you tell your children in terms of if you do have that athletic dream, remember that your physical power will decrease over time, but your intellectual and spiritual power will increase over time. And that's why it's important to invest in everything you have gifts and talents in.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Take it home, Walk.
No, hey, man, I was just gonna say, man, to just piggyback on what Nuevo said, we have to raise well-rounded individuals, you know, and I'm saying this now as a 50-plus-year-old man whose sons are 28 and 32. But when Darius was coming out of high school, bro, and he got accepted to the University of Alabama and had a chance to go walk on to the team and be a part of the football team, and when he turned that down, that's when I realized, oh, you know what? I need to just take me out of this, bro. Take me out of this. You want to know how Kari got to play video games? That's how. Because after that, I'm like, all the basketball, the AAU, all the Pop Warner, all that we did, I thought you wanted what I wanted. No, I was wrong. And I was all wrong. I was all wrong. And I should have never put that on him. You know, I was saying, let's go the football route. I didn't really know. He like, nah, Dad, I want to play. So instead of walking on at the University of Alabama where he could have won 3 national championships, he wanted to play Division III basketball. Okay, that's how I realized, bro, you got to listen to your young people. And I got to be in tune. We as parents got to be in tune with what it is they really want. Or else we going to be guiding them in a wrong way. It's like, you know, driving. It's going to be like driving a car with the brakes on. That's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be driving a car with the brakes on. And that's just a recipe for disaster when you do that. So we got to be in tune with our kids, man. And all us, oh, that's what you want to do? All right, well, I guess so. Go ahead. Hey, like you said, body language, all of that matters. And we got to know, we got to fix our damn face when we talking to our kids.
Talk to it. Yes, sir.
We gotta fix our face, because this is what I know after being a coach for over 2 decades.
How
long?
2 decades. Listen, man, one sentence can alter the course of a young person's life when coming from the right person.
That's right.
One sentence. Right. And it don't matter whether it's coming from mom, dad, grandparents, aunt, uncle, whoever it is. Nobody kill more dreams than parents and grandparents. Nobody.
I'm gonna cut you off because the B2M crew has been wrapping it up about athletes of bus. We started off with Brother Chill telling us the wonderful story, how he created and saw the gifts in his son and was able to support that into becoming the top journalist that he is today, in lieu of a focus on athletics. And James and Brother J. Moo, all of us talking about our experiences and in either pushing hard early and also trying to bring some balance. And even if not that, we all recognize the intense power of us making sure we recognize our children's gifts and talents and support them in all ways. Joaquin, you got something to take us out with, brother?
Hey, man, as always, in the words of the great Frederick Douglass, it is easier to raise strong children than to repair broken men. Peace.
Peace, family.